As originally, I was thinking about saying something along the lines of, "Hey, y'all, let's not freak out too much about Trump." But um, over the past couple of days, I've pretty much been freaking out. So um, I guess I'll say what I was going to say, and you can take it with a grain of salt. And feel free to keep freaking out if that's what's valid for you, because it is a valid response. So, with that being said, um, the reason why I think I've been thinking about the idea of confidence is because um, I've been searching for things to lean on, concepts, ideas that can support me, you know? And that's essentially the topic of this talk is how is your practice supporting you? And I'll share how it's been working for me. And hopefully that's of some use. So a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about confidence in the context of what some people call the three pillars or the three essentials of practice. I find that even the word pillar to be comforting and supportive at this time. And those three pillars would be something like doubt, faith, and faith or confidence and courage. Um, a set of values that tend to be upheld in the Far Eastern Dharmic traditions. They were coined more lately by an American teacher named Philip Kapleau, who you may have heard of. He coined the term the pillars of Zen, at least in English, but it goes way back to like the 13th century, to a Chinese monk. So, just saying, the American guy gets the credit, but it's actually a term that's about 700 years old. Just saying. Anyway, yeah, so today I wanted to talk a little bit more about doubt, like just unpack that a little bit. Yeah, I mean, assuming if I ever get invited back, I can talk a little bit more about courage, which I also have some words to share. But for now, I want to start with doubt because to me, I think of that as like the foundation in a way. And just to define it, I'm not talking about doubt as in like pessimism, but it's more like having a healthy questioning about your experience, not taking things for granted or at face value, basing things as much as you can on your bare experience and observations. I feel like someone in here might have called it like curiosity last time. I can't remember who that was, but that I like that word. I had an art teacher in high school who used to always ask, "Are you drawing an apple or the apple?" And it felt like kind of obtuse to me as a teenager, but I totally get it now, right? It's like, are you drawing your idea of what an apple is supposed to be, or are you drawing the apple that's actually in front of you? So not doubt like with that sort of negative connotation. It's just like a healthy questioning, a healthy discernment. And so how that's helpful, just a small example. I was talking to someone recently who is studying to become a college counselor. She's a young Latina female, first generation college graduate. And to her, it's very important to be able to support other Black and Brown folks through higher education because she herself struggled and she was supported by mentors and counselors. But in any case, she was telling me that all her classmates have been freaking out this week, because of all the news about DEI programs getting cut. And I honestly didn't know what to say to her. I just tried to be present with her and just have that open curiosity, and I just kind of like asked her, like, so yeah, what are you ultimately afraid will happen? And in that process, in talking it through, she kind of like was reasoning in real time, and she's like, now that I think about it, I'm studying to become a college counselor. I'm not getting a degree in DEI per se. So all I can do is like stay the course, assuming I get a job at a city college or a state university, which was kind of the plan. I'm going to end up working with and supporting a lot of minority students regardless. So there's that little bit of breathing room, right? Between like, oh my God, my whole degree is pointless. My life is going to go down the drain. And I'm not saying that there's not reasons to worry, because there's definitely a lot of reasons to worry. But we don't know what's going to happen until it happens. And I just feel like we're going to need to conserve our energy in response to things, because if we start flying off the handle every time he says or does something crazy, we're just going to burn ourselves out. Because there's going to be plenty of crazy coming down the pipeline, over the next 4 years. So the questioning, the doubt, the skepticism, maybe just the opening up to, okay, what's actually going on in this moment? Yes, DEI programs are valuable and they are in danger broadly, but if my specific program gets cut and has a direct impact on my livelihood, then yes, it's time for action. But unless and until I know that, getting too far ahead is not going to be helpful. It's just going to create a lot more worry and anxiety. So just working with what we can, just that little daylight between what am I afraid will happen and what is actually happening at this moment. That's one way that the doubt or the discernment is giving me a little bit of relief and support. There's also a flip side to this. There's the attitude, which I've heard lately from some folks, of like, well, what can you do? It's out of our hands. It'll all work itself out somehow. We'll be fine. And also not true discernment, in my opinion. We know he signed the executive order as far as the military goes. I'm sure there's more to come. So it'll work out. We'll be fine. Really depends on who's we, right? So back in 2016, when he first got elected, Lion's Roar Buddhist magazine published an article, like polling respected Dharma teachers, like, what is your response to all of this? And one teacher, I can't remember who, and I don't want to call anyone out specifically anyway, but basically wrote an article, more or less saying, we've been through hard times before and we will get through this. And this person, as far as I know, although well-intentioned, presents as white, cisgendered, a successful Dharma teacher who's probably of means. All of this, probably informs his outlook. And a young-ish teacher at the time named Pablo Das wrote a rebuttal. Maybe some of you read it, responding with the question of, yeah, who is this we that you're talking about? You know, pointing out that his community, he's openly gay, identifies as queer. In the 80s, federal policies and ignorance decimated the gay population, right? And that's just obviously one example. There's so many examples of ways that policies have harmed vulnerable populations, mass incarceration, police brutality, on and on and on. I don't even have to name them all, right? So yeah, with all due respect, you can go on and get out of here with that "we will all be fine" stuff, in my opinion. So again, the doubt, the questioning, the discernment, having a sharp eye to what's actually happening, not jumping to conclusions or catastrophizing, and also not being delusional or out of touch. That's one of the 3 poisons according to the Dharma. We know that the greed and the hatred part are well covered. Maybe our job is to stay vigilant about the delusions. So yeah, so this is a bit of an interpolation because the way that doubt is talked about in terms of the 3 pillars is usually more existential. It is usually more like around the question of who am I, you know, that kind of thing, very, very Buddhist. But in a way, this is kind of like part of my point, which is going back to my original idea of finding ways to let the practice work for you, right? This is how it's supporting me, how I'm interpreting it. And so find ways to make elements of your practice work for you. You're going to need it. There's a long road ahead. And then it's kind of an imperfect analogy anyway with the 3 pillars, because I think of as I said, I think of doubt as the foundation. And so like courage, confidence, faith, that's like maybe what comes on top of that. That's the column or the spine of the practice, but it's resting on this foundation of questioning. Because doubt feels like, I don't know, it sounds unsteady to me, and a pillar is supposed to be solid, but that's how I think of it. So once you've vetted something with your questioning, you've forged it with the fire of your doubt. I'm mixing a lot of metaphors here, but you get the idea. I also want to say, like, let my words compost and your fertilizer is your practice, but whatever. I'll leave the metaphors alone now. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a symmetrical equilateral tripod. It's more of a scaffolding, maybe. And even as I'm talking about it, I'm like refining the term in my mind. Discernment, doubt, questioning, curiosity, openness, adaptability. One thing about Zen in particular is that they always say that words are just words. So all these words have their own nuances, but they're kind of pointing towards an essence, right? So I'm imperfectly trying to get at this idea, like this Venn diagram. This Zen diagram. So I don't know why I'm being so corny tonight. So that's how doubt is supporting me lately. Speaking of adaptability, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that today is actually a day that millions of Buddhists worldwide honor I myself, not necessarily superstitious or astrological. But as fate would have it, today marks the beginning of the year of the snake, which is supposed to represent resilience and adaptability. That's not my deep ancestral knowledge talking. That's according to ChatGPT. So take it for what it's worth. May you all be adaptable like a snake. Let's see. How am I doing on time? Oh, I have time. Okay. I have a poem. Maybe we can use this as an opportunity to practice. It's by a poet named Marion Strobel, who was active in the 20s in New York. And it's actually called Doubt. So yeah, just use it as a moment to practice being with words and whatever arises. So it says, I have no answer for you here on this barren slope. Misty, there on that mound, set out your fragile hope. Doubt will water the ground, doubt the authentic cry, rainbow the earth to the sky. I am your mother, but I have no answer for you. River, no sun falls through. Doubt will flicker a dim cavern in which the blue and silver fishes swim. Doubt is the light and the shade over the water, the clear image that will not fade. Doubt is the atmosphere. False may be false or true. Cling to the shimmering doubt. Ask of the night, go out on wind and ask of the day. Or, when the sky is blue, ask and receive. You may. Others will speak, but they have no answer for you. So another thing about questioning is just being open to experiences. I used to hate poetry. I used to be like, what? But that what is the questioning, right? That like just openness to, I don't know exactly what that means, but somehow by osmosis, I feel like some medicine has been transmitted through art and artfully arranged words. Let's see. Do I have any other thoughts here in my notes? A minute or two ahead of time. I think I'm all right, actually. I think I covered more or less what I wanted to say. So I hope that suffices. Again, the question, how is your practice supporting you? That's how mine is supporting me. That's all we have right now. So with that, I'll bow out and say thank you for listening.
That's what's up right there.